Hi everyone and welcome to Read, Write, Create with Katja. I was tagged by Nelle and Scott at Gunpowder Fiction and Plot to complete the stock Aikens and Waterman tag. This is a tag that was originally created by JenniferLovesBooks, and I've linked their brilliant channels in the video description below. Sticking with Gunpowder Fiction and Plot style, I will start with the tags. Jeremy Fee, Jim's Books, Reading and Stuff. Miss Reads a Lot, Very Literary Carrie, The Lamp, In the Library, Mark at Booktime with Elvis, and Amy at Booktube with Amy, and Hugo at Scientist Reading World. So starting off the questions. Number 1, You'll Never Stop Me From Loving You by Sonia, an author whose books you'll automatically read even though some of their books haven't lived up to your expectations. Wilkie Collins. I loved his Woman in White and The Moonstone. But after those two books, I read his novella, Mrs. Zant and the Ghost. And for me, that was a total miss. It was so boring. But I'd definitely pick up more of his books. Number 2, You Spin Me Round by Dead or Alive. A book with so many twists and turns that you get dizzy. That was an easy one for me to pick, actually. It is The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton, which is a murder mystery, and the protagonist wakes up in the body of a different person each time he gets a little piece of the puzzle when he wakes up as to who might have killed Evelyn Hardcastle. Now, I worked out something about someone in this novel, but in the grand scheme of things, I had worked out very little. And I can tell you that the ending was so baffling, and I was left pondering this book for many days afterwards. I think it's the sort of book that could frustrate some people, but I found the journey of it just so much fun. Number 3, Too Many Broken Hearts by Jason Donovan, a book that broke your heart. And that has to be No Fixed Abode About Homelessness in the UK by Maeve McClanahan. And this is a book that's written by an investigative journalist who's done so much research, and it's so well written. And she manages to balance the research with the human stories, the human interest stories. But I would say read it at a time that you're feeling resilient, because I actually read it when I was dealing with a number of stressful matters, and by the end of it I felt wrung out energetically. The book stuck with me for a very long time afterwards, and even now speaking about it I can think of a couple of stories. They just come to mind instantly. Now, I've linked my review for the book in the video description below. I do think it's the sort of book that actually transcends borders. So even though it's talking about homelessness in the UK, it has got a lot of points to be made about homelessness in general. Yes, there'll be differences in terms of policy in different countries, but really what we're talking about is the core issues that lead to homelessness, and I think it is an important read. Number 4, Love in the First Degree by Bananarama. Your favourite fictional couple. Now, I usually go for North and South or Persuasion, so I thought I'm going to go with a different couple, and that is Hortense and Gilbert in Andrea Levy's Small Island. This couple is part of the Windrush generation that arrived in the UK after the Second World War and helped prop up the economy. Now, their marriage is a marriage of convenience, especially on the part of Hortense, who is really looking to restart or have a new start, and initially they drive each other mad, and not in a good way. And slowly, as the book progresses, there is a devotion and a love that develops between them. So not quite enemies to lovers, but close. Number 5, I Should Be So Lucky by Kylie Minogue, a book by an Irish author. Now I'm going to cheat slightly and go with a play by Oscar Wilde and choose his Woman of No Importance, which first came to the stage in April 1893 in the Haymarket Theatre in London. Now, like Wilde's other society plays, it is a satire of English upper-class society, and it's been revived time and time again since his death in 1900. But it's also regarded as one of his least successful 4 drawing room plays, and I think that has something to do with it being slightly more somber than the very clear wry humour that's evident in the other three plays. The other three plays being Lady Windermere's Fan, An Ideal Husband, and The Importance of Being Earnest. Number 6, Say I'm Your Number One by Princess. Your favourite prize-winning book? I'm going to go with A Suitable Boy by Vikram Seth, which was published in 1993 and won the W.H. Smith Literary Award and the Commonwealth Writers' Prize for the Best Book. And this book has got an amazing scope. It's difficult to describe, but it is just fantastic. And the writing is so descriptive. Such lush, beautiful, beautiful writing. Everything just comes to life. And it's very informative about the period after the Second World War and around the independence of India. Number 7, The Harder I Try by Brother Beyond, an author you just can't get into. Very easy for me, that's Chaucer, because I just can't get into the Old English. But that doesn't matter, because for centuries, people are happy to read it in the original Old English. Number 8, Happening All Over Again by Lonnie Gordon, a favourite series or sequel. I was going to go with a fantasy series, Discworld, but Scott beat me to it, and I'm glad that he did, because that got me thinking about something else. But talking about Discworld, we just did a read-along of Going Postal, and we are going to be doing a read-along in December of Hogfather and in January of Equal Rights, and we will have announcement videos for all of those. You can join us on YouTube in the comments section or by joining my Discord below. Now, the series that I'm actually going to choose is Mistborn, classic sort of chosen one fantasy, but it has got some lovely twists and turns and was so good. And it has a spin-off series as well called The Alloy of Law. Not only that, but it is set in the Cosmere, and if you're a Sanderson fan, you know that the Cosmere books all have a linkage together, no matter what series it is and no matter what world it's set in. Number 9, Toy Boy by Sunita, your favourite poet or poem. I'm going to go with my favourite quirky poem, which is by a New Zealander called Hera Lindsay Bird. If you are an ancient Egyptian pharaoh, I am carving dirty hieroglyphics into the wall of your tomb. If you are a dead French aristocrat, I am the suspicious circumstances surrounding your death. If you are a shape-shifting wizard, I am the shape you are shifting into. Now, the rest of the poem can be found online, and I have a poem compilation book by Chris Riddell. Number 10, Together Forever by Rick Astley, the book that has been on your TBR longest. Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, first published in 1958. It has sold over 10 million copies and has been translated into 45 languages. It is said to be an arresting parable of a proud but powerless man witnessing the ruin of his people, and begins a landmark trilogy which continues on with Arrow of God and No Longer at Ease. Now, I have always said I'm going to set time aside to properly read this because I want to absorb it all, and then I don't, because I feel like I haven't found the ideal time, and at some point I'm just going to go, there is no ideal time, just like every other book, just read it, just pick it up. And now we get to bonus track, Especially for You by Kylie and Jason. Recommend me a book you think I will love. Now, this is super tricky for me because I feel like Nelle and Scott have read most of the books, like full stop. But, you know, obviously I'll have to have a go. And for Nelle, I'm going to be cheeky again and suggest a book I haven't even read yet. But it's on my TBR and has been there for about 6 months, and I'd be interested to hear her thoughts on it. The Well of Loneliness by Radcliffe Hall. Stephen Gordon, named by a father desperate for a son, is not like other girls. She hunts, she fences, reads books, wears trousers, longs to cut her hair as she grows up amidst the stifling grandeur of Morton Hall. The locals begin to draw away from her. Now, for Scott, I'm going to suggest Burn by Patrick Ness. And on the plus side, I think he's really going to enjoy the characters, or some of the characters. But I do wonder what he's going to make of the genre-defying blending of different elements to this book. After all, he is the person who suggested that all books with magical realism be defenestrated. Now, I will say there isn't magical realism in here, but it certainly defies definition. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So thanks so much for tagging me, and thanks everyone who's watched. If I didn't tag you at the start of this video, you can still consider yourself tagged. If you think this is a fun one to do, go ahead. And if you don't have a Booktube channel, but you'd be interested to actually answer some of these questions, then just leave me, your answers in the comments below. Thanks so much for joining me, and take care. Bye.